Goodness. Good morning.
Oh, look at that.
Man. Out of bounds, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Some people really like to dislike Vanderbilt baseball, and it cracks me up. Again, since Mississippi State took their manhood in 2021, they haven't rebounded. A couple different things happened. They had the advantage from being a private school and blah, 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 and scholarship and, 48 guys, and the NIL and this and that. And sometimes it's just hard to stay on top like they did for a decade. Don't get me wrong. I mean, what's Corbin making? 2.7 to 3 million, right around what, O'Connor's at 3 million. But, it's all good. But Vandy got swept. They got the broom. Did you bring out the brooms at your house or I guess in Starkville over the weekend? I'd like to know. Did you bring the broom out? Did you take it out and go out in your yard and wave it around? The Golden Moon Casino text line is 601-885-3776. 601-885-3776. We're live in the Bank Plus studio, the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Elite teams don't just win series. They dominate in multiple ways. Mississippi State did that this weekend. Now, the flip side is the McPherson deal. And how do you manage and handle that? And you got Tomas, who has been sensational. Look, O'Connor is a pitching coach. Justin Parker is his pitching coach. We'll see how that looks. You'd feel unbelievable today if Ryan McPherson had not shaken his arm and walked off the mound, because you didn't just sweep Vanderbilt. You dominated them. You put your foot on their jugular, which, again, football's been a disaster. Men's basketball was not what you wanted this year. You wanted something big and fun, and you wanted to celebrate as you should. And that's what happened over the weekend. I mean, you dominated Vanderbilt. At the plate, on the mound, whatever. I mean, you got Maluski just on fire at the plate. And your rival took 2 or 3 from Kentucky, and Southern Miss took 2 or 3 from Troy, and you play Southern Miss tomorrow night in Starkville. I was just down in Hattiesburg a couple of weeks ago at that game. So Mississippi State gets Southern Miss on Tuesday, a really good baseball team, and then Ole Miss coming off a 2-3 series win over Mingione in Kentucky. And again, the McPherson deal is a holy Mary Olzab, but you're still excited today, as you should be. You've got Brian O'Connor. And now, what does this mean? I don't, trying to handicap this, I think is going to be good luck. We'll just see. Steve Robertson will join us at 8:30 on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Steve Robertson at 8:30. Coming up in 5 minutes, we'll have Tristan Ferris, Big Blue Nation. They got bounced. Kind of get his reaction on that with Kentucky basketball. Y'all know all about it. We'll always have that what might have been with Pitino if he would have stayed at Kentucky even another 10 years, but let's just say 15. Because think about it. He left after the 97 season, right? I mean, he was a young buck at that point. Basically 30 years ago. So he was what? 42?
Dang.
Or so? And he had Pitino left the Knicks to take the Kentucky job and then made SEC basketball cool like Steve Spurrier made SEC football cool. We were not cool before. I mean, not that we were like uncool,
right?
But we didn't have the sizzle in football, and damn sure didn't have it in basketball. Even though you had some, you had Kentucky that had been on their run under Rupp, and you had Barkley go through in the '80s and good players, Chris Jackson and Shaq, whatever. But it wasn't the same. And then all of a sudden, Rick Pitino's wearing suits where he looks like he just walked out of Manhattan, and things changed. And Steve Spurrier actually spread people out, threw the ball around. And I know they were great at running the football too, but threw the football all around. And it wasn't your Pat Dye, Vince Dooley, Philip Fulmer, Bill Curry, Gene Stallings type league anymore. So anyway, Rocky Top will always be. Yeah. Rick Barnes goes to show you I put my foot in my mouth several. Now, the question is maybe Elite Eights and Final Fours or maybe not. No, Sweet 16s are huge. Ole Miss went last year, huge. But yes, you're right. Rocky Top is excited, and they play Iowa State can ball.
Yeah.
They play Iowa State on Friday. Real quick, if you're just now joining us in the car, the insanity of Washington, D.C. I know y'all are Mississippi State Ole Miss series, and I get it, and we're going to talk a lot of that. And we have 5 days to do it. Swayze, Dogs, Ace Reese, Hunter Elliott, and then the high that you're on from this past weekend where you showed all of college baseball, that it's not even close. I mean, I know LSU and Arkansas are behind you as far as stadium and atmosphere. It's not even close. Even Brian O'Connor talked about it. It's not close. But the Washington, D.C. Sweet 16 of St. John's and Duke, Patino and Duke, and Izzo and Michigan State against Hurley and UConn, that's crazy.
You want your ticket prices?
I see 450 is the lowest. Give me some of them.
That's for session one. That's just for session one. There's 2 sessions.
Okay,
all right?
Got it.
Both sessions combined right now, you can get pretty bad tickets, pretty bad seats for $708
per or total.
Per. That's for both sessions.
Oh well, then that's me going to both games.
Right. One session is $450. The other one is $276.
Got it. Okay, so I can get in, watch 2 unbelievable games for $708, but that doesn't count me getting there and everything else.
Right.
Okay. All right. I expect that to go up.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
The good seat. Yeah, it's gonna fly.
The location is perfect for St. John's and Duke, and really UConn and Michigan State as far as flights in and driving in and so on.
I don't think any of them care anyways. They're coming.
Yeah.
They got the money.
And then the TV ratings will be crazy.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you got it's a Final Four matchup.
Oh,
if you look at those
absolutely.
teams and you say if I told you those teams were in the Final Four at the end of every year, you'd be like, okay, I believe that.
With Patino, yeah.
Yeah, with Patino, sure.
And look, congratulations to Alabama for beating Texas Tech 90-65. I mean, I don't love that because Bama doesn't deserve to be good in anything because they've had all the success they've had in football. And I know that's going to land wrong for Bama fans. And, well, I love you, but I don't care. So you don't deserve basketball. But I give you credit because Greg Byrne made a phenomenal hire in Nate Oates,
right,
who lost a damn good player, and you're winning.
Yeah, the more he wins, the worse it becomes for Alabama.
So
it's bye-bye Hubert, and we'll get to him.
Oh, Nate Oates. Oh, I like the way you're stirring this. Nate Oates to North Carolina.
He keeps winning without best players. Yeah, I mean.
Nate Oates to North Carolina.
Sign him up.
Nate Oates to North Carolina. All right. Hey, I'd like your takeaway from the weekend for your Mississippi State baseball, Ole Miss baseball, or Southern Miss baseball. Can you give me that on the Golden Moon Casino text line? Who's your MVP? What's your takeaway? State's going to play Southern Miss and Ole Miss this week. Tremendous challenge with what's going to play out here with McPherson. But what's your one big takeaway from the weekend? in baseball. You can throw in hoops if you want. Hell, you can throw in what you were cooking on your grill at Duty Noble. But the text line is 601-885-3776. What's your big takeaway on the weekend? Mine is good teams win series, great teams sweep and dominate. But then then the McPherson thing comes in, so I'm kind of like, woo. Because that wasn't baseball at Duty Noble this weekend. That was a statement. But then you got to say, but McPherson, when you meet your friends at lunch today to go over everything, you got to go, dude, that wasn't baseball. That was a statement and dominating at Duty Noble. And then you got to say, but McPherson. We'll see. We're the Out of Bounds Show. SEC Insider Hit is brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. Bundle your auto and home and save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Powered by competitive rates. You can find your Farm Bureau Insurance agent locally in any of the 82 counties in the state of Mississippi. We want to go to the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. We want to welcome in Tristan Ferris. Big Blue Nation Insider. Kentucky bounced round of 32. They went to the Sweet 16 last year, but this is Kentucky. So we thought we'd bring Tristan on. Tristan, good morning. Mark Pope, year 2, gets beat. And then Calipari punching his ticket to the Sweet 16 at Arkansas, which is not as good a program as Kentucky. He's not going anywhere, but what's the reaction been in the Big Blue Nation fan base?
Disappointment for sure. Like you mentioned, Sweet 16, one win. Most programs will be happy with that, but Kentucky's different, and Mark Pope noted that in the post-game press conference yesterday. And it's kind of back to the drawing board. I think a lot of fans are kind of, they're not fed up with Mark Pope, but they're kind of fed up with the state of Kentucky basketball. It's been a long 6 years since Kentucky has been close to winning an SEC title, regular season or tournament, or going far in the NCAA tournament. So all three of those, when it's not happening on a consistent basis, there's going to be frustration with whoever the head coach is. And I think you had a team with postseason Final Four aspirations, and you get bounced in the second round, and you can blame injuries, you can blame whatever, but Iowa State lost their best player before the game yesterday, and they managed to beat them by 19, up by 25 at one point. So definitely a frustrating season, to say the least. Okay.
Tristan Ferris, Big Blue Nation Insider on the Out of Bounds Show. Iowa State ran Kentucky out of the arena by 19. And all right, so he's not Barnhart's stepping down, but he'll still be there for a few months, right, before that whole thing plays out. Is that correct, Tristan?
Well, that's another ordeal. So Barnhart is stepping down as AD effective June 30th. The way UK President Eli Capilouto put it, they're going on a listening tour, which I would expect to get some information on that in 2 months. But a lot of people didn't like that phrase. And then while Barnhart's not going to be in the athletic department, he's taken another position elsewhere on the university. So UK athletics is in a weird situation right now. But I think it's going to be we hired Will Stein over the offseason. Mark Pope was hired 2 years ago, and you're going to have a new athletic director. So it's going to be a change of the hierarchy that's really important going forward with how college athletics is right now.
So your Mark Pope is your coach. Mm-hmm. He's the basketball coach. Mitch Barnhart's still the athletic director. He's Mitch's guy. Do you believe that they are, because he's not going anywhere, do you believe that someone is willing to sit him down and start to ask what changes need to be made so that y'all can play into the second weekend and possibly third weekend next year? Tristan?
Well, yeah, I think, I mean, if you look at the Mark Popus 2 years, while this season was disappointing, if you look at what he had going last year, he was 2 weeks late to the portal. He made the Sweet 16 with a roster of guys that were well outside of the top 50 in the transfer ranking. So I think he is well aware, probably as good as Joby Hall. If you go back there, obviously he played here and coached in Great Rupp. He has a better feel for this fan base than anybody since then. He's well aware of the pressure and the frustration, and he's made that well noted. And he's a fan. Before he was the head coach of Kentucky, he was an alum and fan himself. He wanted Kentucky to go deep in the tournament as long as he wasn't coaching against them. So he's well aware of that. So I think he is going to go to the drawing board himself. But I think there is going to be some conversations with boosters. You may have to do some staff changes, but things have to change, because if you look at what's coming in, Kentucky doesn't have any high school recruits, and they're going to look like they're going to have to rely heavily on the portal. And you've had one season where it's worked and one season where it hasn't. So you're going to have to be able to analyze, use your money wisely. Kentucky will still have the healthy money go after guys in the portal, but you're going to have to make sure that they fit. I go back to when Pope was hired back in 2024. I reached out to a Big 12 assistant, and I'm paraphrasing here, but said something to the effect of, my only worry with Pope is he goes after a different pool of players than what the players were that originally got him the job in the first place. Not that he was talking about talent level. Obviously, the talent level is going to be better when you go to a school like Kentucky. But if you look at the first season, he picked fit over talent. And you can have both. You can have fit and talent. But if you look this year, he felt like he really needed to become more athletic and better on the defensive end. And I think he overcompensated. And I think that's why Kentucky had so many struggles, especially early. And they kind of put things a little bit together at the end of the season. But he's got to find a roster or a rotation of 8, 9, 10 guys that fit what he wants to do.
We're visiting with Tristan Ferris, Kentucky basketball insider, on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. I mean, it was a close game at halftime, and then Iowa State comes out and just imposes their will in the second half, and they advance to the Sweet 16. How much of also is this Calipari's success at Arkansas?
I don't think a lot of fans are hung up on that. I know that's the storyline, and college basketball fans as a whole look at that and they're like, Kentucky fans have to be mad. Cal wasn't doing that at Kentucky, and then that's just the reality of it. Is he didn't have when you've been at a place for 15 years, things just kind of become redundant. And I think he needed a rejuvenation himself, and Kentucky needed a rejuvenation. And we thought a lot of people thought, especially after that press conference that Pope was giving us, now exciting that first season was, Kentucky was kind of garnering into a new era. It's just been kind of slow, and I think the worry is that you see a lot of programs, especially the Blue Bloods, they've had success. I know Kansas, they won a national title in 22. Success has been kind of varying since then, but Duke, they've been really good. Carolina, they're probably going to let go of Hubert Davis, but they've been good in this stretch. And it's just, if you look at the Blue Bloods, Kentucky's the odd man out. So while you can look at Calipari, you can look at Pope, these other programs are making it work. And it's just Kentucky's got to figure out how to make it work for them.
Are you confident, Tristan? Because, again, he went to the Sweet 16 last year, and you had a chance to go to the Elite Eight. Are you confident that Mark Pope can address and identify what he needs to do within the program? Because, I mean, Kentucky can flip the switch in like 1.5 seconds. Are you confident that he can do that? That he's got the skill set to do what he needs to do, both evaluate all the stuff we talk, evaluating on the staff, portal, all that stuff, Tristan?
I'm confident in his intelligence. That's his biggest strength. He was out of basketball. He was a Rhodes Scholar, was in medical school before he became a head coach. So he's very intelligent. But sometimes that intelligence can be too much for your own good, because sometimes you overthink or overanalyze. So I do think he's going to listen to analytics, and he's going to evaluate players based on his fit. I think he's not going to overcompensate in that regard. But the question is as a whole, like, Kentucky really needs a GM, and I think that's kind of been a struggle for Pope to kind of learn that. But yeah, I have faith in Pope that he can right the ship a little bit. Now, is that going to right the ship to a Final Four or a national title? That's yet to be seen, because
Right.
the reality is Pope came to Kentucky without winning an NCAA tournament game.
Right.
And the reality is, if that was any other coach that wasn't an alum, he wouldn't have been hired in Lexington.
Right.
And so he doesn't have the pedigree that Rick Pitino came in with, or John Calipari came in with. And he didn't coach under Adolph Rupp like Joe B. Hall did. And Kentucky's not a program that changes coaches every 5-10 years. We've won multiple titles and had a lot of success with multiple coaches, but it's just not something that typically happens every couple of years. So year 3 of the Mark Pope era is definitely going to have a lot of pressure. But I do think he can right the ship. It just, is he going to be able to right the ship to an Elite Eight or a Final Four? We'll see, or compete in the SEC for a regular season or a tournament title.
Okay. Have you checked the message boards? Is it like a total meltdown?
Kentucky fans are the most passionate fan base in the country, so
no doubt.
You have varying opinions. You have people that want to go back to Cal. You have people that want to in the athletic department and step in themselves. So it's been chaos. Everybody kind of need to take a breather. I think 48 hours after a loss, that's a good time to be sensible in what really needs to happen. I think most fans know Pope's not going anywhere this year. But they'll get behind them from year 3. Kentucky
sure.
fans, when bad things happen, they're definitely critical. That's what makes this job so great. Is I put it out yesterday. They get tired of national media telling, and any fan base should. National media shouldn't tell a fan base how to feel. Kentucky fans are unique because they expect so high standards. That's what carried the success through decades. If you have a fan base that doesn't require excellence and you settle for mediocrity, that's no fun. And you're going to have the passion and the varying opinions, but that's just what makes Kentucky great.
All right, tell us the truth. On Thursday, are you going to be wearing an Arizona Wildcat pullover when they play Arkansas?
Here's the way I look at it. I separate Cal and Arkansas. I hope all the best for Cal as an individual, but Arkansas is an interconference rival. I don't
Sure.
want an interconference rival to ever be more successful than Kentucky. So that's the way I look at it. So and I cheer for the SEC because obviously if the conference is great, it helps everybody in the conference. So maybe I'm not going to cheer for them against Arizona, but maybe one more game to get to the Elite Eight, and then we'll see.
Okay. Man, Darius Acuff. Golly, he's so good. Not that you want to hear this, but damn nations. He's worth turning on your TV and sitting down and opening a cold Michelob Ultra and having your wings right there and just not even getting up for an hour or so. That guy's amazing. Tristan, you're the best. We'll see what, I know you are going to spend $400 million in the portal. So we'll see where that leads you, and we'll talk soon. Okay.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me on, though.
All right, buddy. Tristan Ferris does a great job. He's good on Twitter too. He cracks me up. I like finding these new people that are in the league instead of the people, a lot of people that you already been following are really good, but you find somebody new that's passionate, that has a good following. Big Blue Nation, Kentucky insider, Tristan Ferris on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Mississippi State, they didn't sweep, they dominated Vanderbilt. And then we've got the butt, McPherson. So you should be excited, okay? And you needed that. Good Lord. You went from 1-2 to 4-2. That's huge. Now you got to play your in-state rival at their place, and they have a good baseball team. And you got to play Southern Miss before that on Tuesday night. This is going to be a crazy week. And Patino's in the Sweet 16. Golly. Back in a second.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
Is now warning.
Live in the studio. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9. All set? Let's go. The Zone.
Oh, man. Let's do this.
Maybe your fan base would rather lose to Alabama.
Oh, good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. The show is powered by Pearl River Resort and the Golden Moon Casino Vegas-style sportsbook. Award-winning Dancing Rabbit Golf Club will be there later in the week. Look forward to that. We had a great time there last weekend, and it was good to see that group of 25 dudes that came over from Dallas-Fort Worth and other areas, but Marshall Henderson, his dad, Willie, who was a longtime Texas high school hoops coach in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and they may be on the struggle bus today, but it was awesome to see them, and I know they had a great time at the sportsbook and golf and Philip M's. We are the Out of Bounds Show. Speaking of good steaks, Kessler Prime and the Renaissance, KesslerPrime.com to make a reservation. Add a little escargot or jumbo fried shrimp and maybe a ribeye, medium rare, medium. Get it seared. And award-winning Elijah Craig bourbon. Maybe go with the 18-year or the toasted barrel. That's a win. That's for sure. A couple different ways that you can get in touch with us. The Golden Moon Casino text line is 601-885-3776. Mississippi State didn't just sweep, they dominated Vanderbilt. Now what's going on with McPherson? Some people are saying 3 to 6 weeks. Some people are saying something different. Everybody's saying something. Just talk to, 3, 5, 8, 9 of your Mississippi State friends, buddies, alums, and you'll be able to hear several different options or prognosis. I don't know. That's all way in over my head. But he didn't blow out his Tommy John, according to the best sources, which is great because the young man is filth. You heard what Jay Powell said last week, sitting right beside me, as far as McPherson, who he is and what he can be. He's only a sophomore. And, they were already projecting him as a super high pick not this June, but next June. And all that's still in front of him this day and age, y'all know, with orthopedic surgery and physical therapy and everything else. You should be like, you dominated Vanderbilt. You had what I believe was a record-breaking crowd on Saturday. I don't know why it wasn't announced that way. But you had an incredible crowd on Friday. Saturday, I walked out to the outfield and then walked back in to my seats in the grandstand because you couldn't move. Now, I'm glad that there are that many people there. And look, it was a big party. I mean, once I got to about the third grill, I was like, I can't do it. But now, if you're in one of them and you're good and you got your spot, hell yeah. So my daughter and I ended up meeting back in the grandstand, and we just watched 90% of the game from there, which was a ton of fun. I'm happy for MSU fans because you've supported your school. Starkville you could not move there. And, Friday was a ton of fun. I drove right into Two Brothers, and my kids ditched me. Sometimes they want me there. I can pay for everything. Right. Sometimes they don't, whatever. But I had a great time. And then what did I do after that? Anyway, I told y'all. I ended up seeing Tom Hart. Random. I ended up seeing Tom. We talked for 20 minutes. That was great. He called the game on Friday night with Ben McDonald, as y'all know. And it was a dominating performance on the mound and at the plate. and in the dugout. And Tim Corbin's excellent. Hall of Famer. Awesome. To come in, nobody cared about Vanderbilt baseball before Tim Corbin. Nobody cared about it. The only thing that ever was said about Vanderbilt baseball, one thing, y'all know probably, was like prior to Tim Corbin arriving in Nashville and building over 10 years, they were the number one baseball program in the country.
Period.
Not debatable.
No.
That's both national championships and national championship series that they didn't win.
Right.
Which getting to Omaha is crazy pills, how difficult it is with the regional, super regional format. Okay? But the one thing that people said about Vanderbilt baseball prior to Tim Corbin's arrival, and what was that? Will Clark hit a home run that went over 3 interstates in Nashville 100 years ago when he and Raffy and Thigpen and Brantley and that crew played there at Mississippi State, but playing there that weekend. And I'm sure that weekend, even back in the rural rustic South, and yes, Nashville was starting to boom, but not close to what it is today. Even then, it was 40-1 in 1984 or 5, whenever Will did that, Mississippi State to Vanderbilt baseball fans at that crappy little park that they had for years. And then he drove them to be a powerhouse. And all these MLB players and all these Omaha appearances and titles with an S. And since Mississippi State absolutely took their manhood in 2021, plus NIL and everybody else being able to do what Corbin, and I do not blame Corbin for what they did.
No.
But as the world of collegiate athletics shifted, as you know, not everybody, many other teams decided we're going all in. One of them being Mississippi State. We'll know more, I guess, about McPherson at 8:30. Steve Robertson will join us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Now, how can you get in touch? We want to hear from you. What is your takeaway from the weekend? In Oxford, Starkville, you still got Mississippi State, Southern Miss, Tuesday night, Duty No. I think that could be a record midweek crowd. The weather, again, is going to be phenomenal, which it was in Oxford and Starkville this weekend. And Hattiesburg. The Tuesday, Wednesday game, I mean, you've had monster games out at the Mud Monsters Park and Braves Park before, 8,000, 8,600, Governor's Cup. You've had big crowds for MSU. Obviously, MSU always brings more, whoever they're playing, but MSU, USM, Ole Miss, USM, and so on.
Always.
Tuesday may break the midweek record for attendance. And I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't claim to know what it is. I think it's going to be I didn't go the game. I got out there early yesterday morning, before 11 a.m. And I need to get in the ballpark and do a couple of things. And then I headed back to here, I guess, about 12:15 maybe. And y'all, when I walked up at 10:50 yesterday, there was a line at Duty on a Sunday. This isn't Friday or Saturday. On a Sunday, there was a line going down the street to Humphrey Coliseum to get in because they hadn't opened the gates yet. I had a media credential, so I jumped the fence.
Right.
But there was a line down the street on a Sunday. You people are nuts, and I love it. I love that y'all got loud in the park. The crowds have been too quiet for days, even though they've been big crowds. I feel like something's happened the last. I don't know if it was Mango. Can't put my finger on that. But I like that. Too many Mississippi State fans like to sit on their hands. Get up on your feet.
Be weak.
But the crowd had some electricity and mojo. Maybe it was the younger people. Steve Robertson at 8:30. Yeah, good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds show.
What?
ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Oh, goodness. What are we doing?
Hot take.
Steve Robertson will join us next. Maybe he'll tell us something a little bit more definitive. From text, I don't know if he's going to go 100%, but we'll see what he wants to say. Steve Robertson, genespage.com, 247 Sports. We'll find out maybe a little bit more on Ryan McPherson, one of the two aces with Tomas. Or, it's a blow. I don't care if it's a week. Because a week,
Man.
every game matters. I mean, you walk into Swayze this weekend with McPherson healthy, and you're thinking, let's throw down. Still do that anyway, but it was a great weekend. You showcased, could have marketed it even more, but, and again, it's the best culinary experience in collegiate athletics. I wish it was marketed that way. As I was walking through on Friday, I could not believe the food options out there on the grills. It's insane. Absolutely insane. It's like a bunch of pit masters get together that are on top of a baseball field and party. I mentioned running into Tom Hart on Friday, who called the game with Ben McDonald. I did exchange texts with him both that night and the next morning. He's been everywhere. Y'all know that. And he's been to Starkville before, but it's been a while. We all know that Mississippi State, even though they've gone to back-to-back regionals, very disappointing post-2021. That's why Brian O'Connor's here and Chris Lemonis is not. We all know that. But even Tom Hart, SEC Network, ESPN, was blown away with the crowd and the electricity and the atmosphere. Again, this is a fan base that's starving to win. And you should be. I mean, you have to be driven. And again, we talk about committed and all that. You dominated Vanderbilt, and then we've got to see what happens with McPherson. And we have to see how O'Connor and Justin Parker manage this, right? But they're both paid big bucks. So, O'Connor's paid $3 million a year, and Parker's paid over $500,000 or whatever, and they've got some options, but that doesn't mean you have McPherson options. What does Mike Detillier always say? Next man up, but the next man is not always that guy. When you sweep people and you dominate, that's also a different discussion. And it should be.
Well, at that rate, yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't just sweep.
Well, you run-ruled them yesterday.
Disrespectful.
Yes. And I would have said hottest, best team, right now, but the McPherson thing is
blow.
Yeah, just have to see. You can still win. You can still win a lot of games.
Yeah.
But we'll let's see what happens. Good teams win series. Great teams sweep and dominate. And Ole Miss, would love to take you out this weekend.
Great weekend to catch.
And Bianco has not had a lot of success the last, I go all the way back like 12 years.
Yeah.
It's been a run. Whether it's the Governor's Cup or series in Oxford or Starkville, Mississippi State has dominated.
No.
And yeah, I think you could make the strongest argument on MSU being the best team in the SEC if McPherson doesn't walk off the field on Friday. So, and you still got a crazy good lineup, depth, and some other pieces on the back end are coming together, and you're excited about that. And Maluski comes in, and you're getting excited about that, and you should. So, and you had, Bryce Chance.
Oh my God.
I
read it.
When you go from walk on
Yeah.
to could have I'm sure could have transferred to Troy.
Yeah.
Good program. Southern Miss, Tulane, I don't know, whatever. Think of some others.
Coulda
And now he's
turned up.
he's absolutely tearing it up.
Like what?
And he's added to his arsenal. I think that's what's so impressive about the MRA product, who walked on, and then when O'Connor was hired, then eventually got to play.
Right.
And then when O'Connor was hired, well, they'll over-recruit him.
Yeah.
And I think people thought that they did, and look at what he's doing. Like, I think he's a case study. I think he is. I know it's overused, but he's an absolute and total grinder.
Oh, man.
To add power and some of the other things that he has added to his hitting approach and skill set, damn. Yeah. Damn.
Man, he definitely got in the lab and figured something out.
That's right. He goes to work. I guess he just hits 6 hours a day.
That must. That man, he was a walk on.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about a grind.
Man, I think you actually kept up with sports a little bit this weekend.
It was unintentional. No, I wasn't. I had to watch a little bit.
Okay.
I felt it.
You felt it?
Yeah.
Got it.
Naturally.
You felt it.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And when
that wasn't like your dog licking your knee. You felt it.
Well, it could have been.
Okay.
Either way, it got me ready.
Did you go outside at all this weekend?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, did a lot of outside
good.
stuff yesterday. We were out.
Because like people that were in Oxford and Starkville, they were watching. It's good for you, right?
Right.
Even though, like, other people told us years ago, vitamin T wasn't good for you.
Right.
It's like probably the best thing in the world for you. So you got outside.
Hard.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, we were out. We were out at the park. We were outside.
What?
With the dog. Yeah, it was weird.
This is a very
need a little
ambitious, progressive weekend for you. What did you go to like a festival or something?
No, we took.
I don't even know what was going on
just
here.
needed the dogs to get some exercise, man.
Okay, so you walked the dogs.
Well, we let them. You go out to
a park.
Yeah, we took them to Butts Park out there in Southwest Jackson.
So why did you pick that place out of curiosity?
That's just where I went as I was growing up, and it's just the best place to go out there and just.
Is that a Clintonian gathering?
Southwest Jackson.
Okay,
it's on the line, so it's literally you can step into Clinton or you can step into Jackson.
And if you're straight out of Clinton,
you're
then you go to what's the name of this park?
Butts.
Okay, I've never heard of it in my life, and I grew up here.
Really?
And I know pretty much every area. I've never heard of Butts Park.
Yeah, down there off Spring Ridge.
I know where that is.
Take a left. Yeah. It's a good spot. It used to be where they used to have a Southwest Jackson soccer league and stuff.
Okay.
So it's a bunch of soccer fields that are I guess they're defunct now.
Oh man, I hate that.
Yeah, it's tough. It was kind of heartbreaking.
People moved to Rankin in Madison County.
Well, yeah, that and people messed up the fields that shouldn't have been out there.
I got you. Yeah, didn't treat it right.
Yeah, and they didn't have enough money to redo them. So
Land Rebel says it's where Choctaw Trails is. Is that right, Jackson?
That is the cross country trail. Yeah, that's where you ride cross country. Used to have a model airplane thing out there, a go-kart track. The model airplane thing they had like events out there and whatnot.
Okay.
It's pretty sweet.
Okay.
They used to have disc golf.
Hey, speaking of the Omaha Collection, Peter Millar at the Rogue Men's Store. M over S stuff for days. The Rogue Men's Store, Omaha Collection, Peter Millar, Hail State Baseball, Steve Robertson coming up next.
Now, a lot of people say, well, the Pac-12 sucks this year. Okay, I'm not going to argue that.
Well, I hit the wrong one there. A little bit of a delay of game. No, offsides. Offsides. Out of bounds, ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Hot garbage.
Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds show. We're powered by Farm Bureau Insurance. Bundle your auto and home and save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Go with the home team, as our friend Jake Mangum likes to tell us. Competitive rates are powered by Farm Bureau Insurance. We welcome in Steve Robertson. GenesPage.com, 247 Sports. Steve, Mississippi State didn't just sweep Vanderbilt, they dominated them. But, and it was unbelievable, electric atmosphere, all of that. However, everybody wants to know about Ryan McPherson, their, one of their aces, if you will, with Tomas. So you tell us, what is the latest on Ryan McPherson?
Well, nothing officially, but I'll tell you what I've heard and what I tend to believe. Is that fair enough?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So Saturday, word kind of started making the rounds, kind of behind the scenes, that he didn't blow out the UCL. He had TJ. I guess it was in 2023, and that's a hamstring tendon they put in there. I mean, it's very, very difficult to blow it out twice, especially in short succession like that. And I said, well, something happened, obviously. And so then yesterday, word was around that it appears to be kind of a severe forearm strain, which was similar to what we went through with Nate Dome a couple of years ago. And Nate,
he never really pitched that year. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, we couldn't really get it back. But I understand it, again, secondhand information, that it's not quite as bad as what was going on with Nate. And one of the things I wanted to point out to people too, because I figured we'd have to discuss this, is that when he walked off the mound and didn't feel quite right in the dugout, okay, Brian O'Connor and that training staff would have never sent him back out to warm up if there was any possibility in their minds of him having a UCL injury. Just would never have happened in a million years. They would never, ever, well, let's just go see what you got. What I'm told is he just felt a little tight, and so they worked with him, thought he was okay, sent him back out for warm-ups, and said, let's just see how you feel. Of course, they're watching him, obviously very closely, and throws the one warm-up pitch and just doesn't feel right, and they go out there. But, for anybody to think that, Brian O'Connor and them were just kind of oblivious, and that one warm-up pitch is what raised the alarm. I understand that McPherson was communicating with them during the half inning, that he was kind of tightening up a little bit, and then things kind of abated a bit. And so I think that is good news in the respect that, if they thought for 1 second that it was a very serious thing that could possibly hamper his season and his future, that there's no way they tried him back out there.
All right. So basically there's nothing definitive right now, because the dome thing was, I mean, that thing was almost painful and excruciating in that it went on and on and on and on, and he never really came back. Right. So he could be out 3 weeks, or he could be out the rest of the season. Is that fair?
Yeah, knowing Ryan, and I would be surprised if it was something that was season ending.
Okay.
I saw him yesterday. Did not ask. Just saw him, shook his hand, and kind of let it go. I mean, it's not my place to do that, right? I mean, I'm not going to violate the protocol when it comes to type of injury information. But there's another thing too in the Nate Dome situation. Nate was draft eligible, and they'd had an advisor, and an agent, in his ear. And so they're thinking about draft. McPherson's not draft eligible this year, right? And so, his allegiance is to his team. Obviously, he has a bright future ahead of him. So I think that the dynamic is a little bit different, just because of the fact, Nate was, weeks away from the draft. And, you've got an agent kind of in his ear saying, hey, we have to think about what's best for you long term. And going out there and pitching for Mississippi State probably not a good thing. Now, I can tell you when we went to the regional, Nate wanted to pitch. He absolutely wanted to pitch, and by that point,
was that just at Virginia?
Virginia, yeah, I was at Virginia
with O'Connor. Okay,
right,
okay.
But it didn't work out.
So all right, so he's out for he's out for a couple of weeks. You feel confident saying that? What's the deal?
Yeah, I feel very comfortable saying that. I mean, obviously, I don't expect.
So that's a devastating. All right, so let's go there. This team is very talented, and that's all great. And this weekend, they didn't just sweep; they dominated. That does not happen often in this league. Vanderbilt's still a good program, while not dominant like they were for that 10-year stretch. They still have dudes, as you discussed on our show last week. So, Steve Robertson on the Out of Bounds show. Let's not sugarcoat it. This is a blow, because I think you could argue they were the best team in the league. And now this is played out. Now, they still got a hell of a lineup. They still got Tomas, Duke Stone, others. Now, how do you see Brian O'Connor and Justin Parker managing this with McPherson missing some time, Steve?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think that's the question of the week, right? I mean, honestly, I would keep Tomas where he is. He's dominating. He gives you, there's a lot of teams out there. There's a lot of people in the pitching philosophy world that believe that you throw your best guy on Saturday, because if you lose on Friday, you got to even the series on Saturday. And if you win on Friday, you want to win the series on Saturday. There's a lot of teams out there that put their best guy already on day two. And I think it's going to be tough for teams to beat Mississippi State on Sunday with back at the bullpen pitching. And you saw that yesterday, right? I mean, it was tough, and that's what makes the Arkansas situation a little bit different. Whereas, they lose game 2 and then they're able to kind of like punt and push their better arms to game 3. Now, obviously you could do that a little bit under normal circumstances, but I think yesterday is a pretty good example of what this offense can do when you don't have a bona fide third starter on the bump from the other team. And so I think I would probably figure this thing out like that. Keep Tomas and Stone where they are, and maybe you work somebody else in there on Friday.
Who would you give me two guys that you believe, if they stay with Tomas on Saturday and Duke on Sunday, which I get where you're going there, and Tomas has been phenomenal. But you're facing Hunter Elliott, who's one of the best pitchers in college baseball, and he's done it all. So give me your number 1 and 1A option, in your opinion, if that's what O'Connor and Parker decide to do for Friday at Swayze, Steve.
Well, the first thing I would say is, most people that have been in college as long as Hunter Elliott are doctors. I mean, it's crazy to think how long he's been there and how great he's been, especially since he's been back to good health, and might have the best pickoff move in the country. But, that aside, I don't think it's a situation where you just start out a walk-on, right? Maybe you take another look at Foster. I mean, one of the things you worry about on Friday is having to spend too much with your bullpen, right? You don't want to have to be a scenario where you go pull a guy in the third inning and then you got to find a way to get 18 more outs at a minimum. But maybe Charlie Foster is an option there. I know that Tyler Pitzer is probably a guy that I would consider too. He was in that starting discussion when we started the fall. And he's had a couple of good outings, and I think maybe that's a direction you go. But I don't think you upset the whole apple cart over one rotation spot. I think you just simply address that. Some people have suggested Ben Davis. I think Ben is on the verge of really starting to take off in the bullpen, and you have spent the last 6 months tailoring him to be that back of the bullpen guy.
Sure.
And so I don't like the yo-yo effect, right? Let's bring him back and make him a starter. And, he's kind of changed his body a little bit too, just with that role in mind. And so I don't know that I go that direction, but, Parker Rhodes is probably a guy that you'll see a good bit, tomorrow. But, the thing that I've learned about this league is trotting a freshman out on the road as a starting pitcher for really their first SEC action is a mistake. And you saw that yesterday. You know, everybody's gone through that at some point, but you kind of do what you got to do. But I think I would probably consider that. Maybe Pitzer and Foster's a guy that's incredibly talented, but mechanically at times he kind of loses it. And you see they'll have one great inning and then one very mediocre to poor inning. And so I don't know if you can count on him on the road at Oxford on Friday, but, you know, Tyler Pitzer is a guy that has pitched in this league, and, you know, maybe perhaps that's the route they go. But I can guarantee you this, Brian O'Connor and Justin Parker will have a great plan.
Woo. All right, Steve Robertson, genespage.com, talking Hail State baseball. They play at Swayze this weekend. You know who the Friday night starter is, Hunter Elliott. He's done it all in college baseball. He's coming off 6 1/3 against Kentucky. He was phenomenal. You know, they didn't even really get to him. I mean, he struck people out, then he got them to they didn't do much. And Steve knows all about him. He's just a hell of a baseball player. And now you got to figure it out this week. And you got, as Steve just referenced, you got a Southern Miss team coming in that's already beat you, and you want to beat them. I mentioned earlier, Steve, it would not surprise me if they broke a midweek record at Duty Noble tomorrow night with Southern Miss coming in because of the excitement around O'Connor and the program. Am I crazy?
Well, it's just so tough for people to get here. But, yeah, I mean, I
mean a midweek record, not a weekend record.
I expect a good I expect a really good crowd, and I think we'll have some Golden Eagle fans that'll make a trip up too. And you know, last year it was so weird. It was a similar kind of game down at Southern Miss where, like, you know, Southern gets up early, and granted this year State came back and took the lead and blew it, but you know, then Southern Miss came up here and got mercy ruled, and I think there's a lot of guys on that Mississippi State team that really feel like they let one slip away at Hattiesburg. You know, you had the drop pop-up, you had the couple of wild pitches. I mean, and all three of those things led to runs and a very tight ball game. And so I feel like they feel like they let one get slip away. They know what's in front of them. It's a very important week from an RPI standpoint, and certainly in the SEC standings this weekend. So I expect State to come out ready to play. I don't think it'll be just like your typical midweek game.
But if McPherson's out 4 series, I mean that's a blow. I mean, because you're riding high and you're thinking, you know, national seed possibly, but definitely one of the 16. I mean, to me, this is beyond a bump in the road, and this is more than a tremendous challenge for O'Connor and Parker, right, Steve?
Oh, I agree. Yeah, you can't minimize the impact of this. I mean, right? Like, you could argue with McPherson and Belenkas, you've got one of the best 1-2 punches, not just in the SEC, but in the country.
No doubt.
You know, and so now all of a sudden you don't have that, you know, and so, yeah, trust me, we've dealt with it for 48 hours now where, you know, nightmares of not being a top 8 national seed have kind of been, you know, making the rounds on Bulldog pillows here for the last couple of nights. But, you know, we've been in situations like this before and you know, figured it out. But to suggest that it, you know, State's just going to keep on rolling on the pitching side without it is to be short-sighted.
All right, now let's go to some good things. As far as on the mound, I mean, Tomas I get, but other than that, like, what were some things you hang on to every pitch? You're watching every single pitch of every inning. What impressed you outside of Tomas? What impressed you this weekend?
I thought the bullpen was much better. Now, granted, you're at home, right? So you got 15,000 people at your back. You know, when you go on the road, and even at Von Walker, it wasn't a wild atmosphere up there, and it typically is. It wasn't until that 8th inning in Game 3 where it really felt like we were at Von Walker. You know, it really felt like we'd kind of navigated all through that pretty well. But this weekend, you know, I thought number one, the selection of the guys that we used, and we extended some guys, and that's one of the things we talked about last week is that, you know, to fix the bullpen, there's going to be some guys that are going to have to work a couple innings, and they want to. I mean, nobody wants to just go out there for an inning. You know, I mean, they want to play. I thought Jack Gleason was really good. I thought Sweeney had a return to form this past week, and Yeah, I thought Ben Davis was ridiculous. I mean, 98 sinker at the knees. Good luck, right? And because even if you make contact, you're beating that ball on the ground. When he is on, he really gets under barrels. And the thing about getting under barrels is they don't turn into home runs. They don't turn into line drives in the gap. I mean, they're going to beat the ball on the ground. You're going to give your defense a chance to make plays. But, yeah, really, really happy with not just the selection of the bullpen pitchers, but their performance for the most part.
What about Bryce Chance? I mean, we keep talking about him. I've asked you about him. I mean, what's he do? I mean, he's adding to his arsenal as a hitter. So, I mean, what did he do? Did he hit 6 hours a day in the offseason? What happened here?
Well, he got married, and that's what we'll attribute it to, right?
Right.
No, but
more focus.
Bryce is, what's so funny is like I bumped into Coach McMullen on my way home yesterday, going out in the parking lot, and just kind of talked for a couple seconds. And he said the same thing you and I've kind of said. He said, Bryce may be the best 9-hole hitter in the country. And I said, he may be the greatest 2-out RBI guy that we've ever seen at Mississippi State. I mean, and that's not hyperbole. I mean, he just thrives in those situations.
True.
And I think a lot of it is because Bryce doesn't try to do too much. He just goes up there and tries to put a ball in green grass. And it was apropos, I thought, for him to be the guy to walk it off. And just his reaction when he got the hit, he's kind of just slips a bat and shrugs his shoulders. That's just kind of who he's become. And leading the Southeastern Conference and batting average 2 weekends in, not in just an SEC play, overall. I mean, a guy hitting 457. Listen, I saw a stat yesterday. I haven't verified it, but it's easy to do. He's been hit by the pitch more often than he struck out. That's
my! That's ridiculous. That's filthy. Golly.
And it's interesting too. They moved him to the 2-hole, and then I thought it took him a little while to kind of get settled again. They experimented and they tried it, but Bryce was just vintage Bryce this weekend. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. When he came up that redshirt freshman year and he started to play a little bit, I thought to myself, and I even told a friend or two of mine, I said, I don't know if this is sustainable. I just don't know if he's big enough, strong enough,
right,
to consistently stay in the lineup and produce. And number one, he did get a little bit bigger and did get a little bit stronger. But Bryce's approach at the plate is so incredibly polished. There's so many guys come in that situation, they take a selfish swing. Bryce is a team-first guy in every aspect. And watching him consistently, I joked on my show a few weeks back, if my life was on the line and it's 2 outs in the ninth and one he runs at third, who do I want at the plate? Well, I might say Ace Reese, but I'm more inclined to say Bryce Chance because I just know Bryce is going to be short to the ball and he's going to put it in play. And that's a lesson, too. Like we talked about the Jake Mangum effect, right? I'm not going to sit here and say Bryce is on Jake's level. I'm not going to suggest that. But I think that there's a great lesson for young ball players watching Bryce Chance, because how many times do we think, well, I want to be the guy to go hit the walk-off home run? Well, the walk-off home run doesn't always win because a lot of times it ends up being a routine fly ball to left. The way Bryce approaches all of this, hitting the baseball where it is, being selective, fouling off pitches, spoiling pitches, having a good eye at the plate, and just being a good all-around hitter, that's what a great lesson for young ball players in the great state of Mississippi, to just watch a guy like that be a hero without really doing anything heroic, right? I mean, he's not out there getting the grand slam. He's just the guy that stays within himself and does what's required of him, and that's a winning baseball player.
Thought you framed that up really, really well. Bryce Chance has become a special player. Credit to him. And his drive and work ethic and blocking out the noise. Steve Robertson on the Out of Bounds Show, genespage.com. His message boards are on fire, especially baseball, with Mississippi State playing great baseball, tip of the cap, but also the Ryan McPherson news or whatever is going on there. Obviously, he's not going to be pitching for a minute or two. Steve, I thought the inning of the weekend was the 5th inning on Friday. Jack Gleason loads the bases. And they get out of it. He does what they need to do, and then the double play. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and that same thing happened with Maddox Webb, right? I mean, you had runners at second and third, nobody out, and both situations they get nothing, right? You got to go out there and execute pitches. And when you get in that bases loaded situation or nobody out, you just need the non-productive out, right? And it's so difficult to get, right? Because everybody's just looking for something to elevate. And you miss a pitch up, next thing you know, it's in the gap somewhere, and everybody's, running around the bases. But you get the pop-up, right, and then they can't run, and then next thing you know, you get a strikeout. Then it's like, oh, man, we're going to get out of this without nothing. And then you do it. And, man, I thought our crowd was so great, right?
Yeah.
And it really felt like a super regional atmosphere.
Yes.
It truly did. And there was just a buzz in the air. And every pitch, like, people are clapping. And it's like, dude, I have missed this for so long. Right? Just having these meaningful weekends of Southeastern Conference play. Well, there's 14, 15,000 people there. They're totally engaged in what's happening on a baseball field. And that's kind of how that felt. When Gleason gets the out and he walks off that mound, I don't even think he had to walk. I think the crowd just kind of blew him off the field.
Yeah.
It was just the roar of that crowd. And then the same thing happens with Webb, and you just kind of felt like this is Mississippi State tonight. They're going to win this baseball game. And but I thought the crowd made a big difference. I mean, even in Game 2 with Nadu, who is going to be great at Vandy. That's their Saturday starter. He's 6'6", 240 pounds, and gets down the slope and mid-level 90s fastball with some rise to it. He's going to be a Friday night ace at some point if he stays healthy. And next thing you know, big innings coming up, and he's on the ropes a little bit, and they start the maroon and white chant, and you could just see in his body language. And then he just steps off the back of the mound, which should have been a pitch clock violation, right? But the crowd was in their heads, and I think that's one of the things we talk about. Oh, I hate going here and hate going there. Man, nobody loves coming here. I mean, they love getting that sausage on Sunday. They want to come down here and play in front of all these people. Not guys that really, competing for championships. They understand this is the most difficult place to play in the country when this crowd is engaged. And one thing I would say about that too is one of the things the pitchers are doing to kind of slow the crowd down a little bit is they'll start the maroon and white chant, and everybody's rocking, and you feel like the earth is going to swallow you whole. They'll throw to first, and then the crowd stops. That's got to change. The crowd has to remain engaged. You can't let the pitcher dictate to the crowd. The crowd's got to dictate to the pitcher. So they need to keep that maroon and white chant going all the way through. Don't give them any chance to breathe.
Steve Robertson on the Out of Bounds Show. Maluski, holy smokes, Steve. I've only got like 30 seconds, but how about the way he was at the plate? Well,
in the last week, he has been who they expected him to be. And, it's not just the home runs, but I just think him as a receiver, big physical guy, he's what we call it, quiet receiver. Right? That's when he sets up, there's not a lot of movement. He's not going to give the umpire an excuse, right? Now, he sets up off the plate a little bit for me, but, man, this is the guy. And that was the conversation that you and I had a week ago is what are you going to do at the catcher position,
Sure.
He's had some issues. Andrew Raymond had been good at times, maybe not as solid at the plate as Maluski, but I think it's pretty safe to say Brian O'Connor knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Brian knows how to put a roster together. So I think that's where we just rest. So.
GenesPage.com, Steve Robertson. Thanks, Steve.
See you, bud.
Out of Bounds, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, driven by your next GMC Sierra truck at Fowler GMC.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
This is Out of Warning.
Live in the studio. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9. All set? Let's go. The Zone.
Oh, good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Just heard from one of our fantastic listeners, John, text me. I want you to know that we're going to run the Steve Robertson interview again at 9:30 because of the Ron McPherson and Bryce Chance conversation. That's what we do. So this is ESPN 105.9 The Zone. The Out of Bounds Show is powered by Total Transportation of Mississippi. Total Transportation of Mississippi offers nationwide and regional routes. TotalMS.com to apply today. All right, weekly pay, monthly bonuses, TotalMS.com. Full benefits, paid vacation, TotalMS.com. Steve Robertson interview again at 9:30 on ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Look, you're playing Ole Miss. Hunter Elliott throws on Thursday or Friday, depending on when they have their first game. He's unbelievable. He was fantastic against Kentucky, although they had a pitching duel the next day. Ole Miss and Kentucky did. When Kentucky got their scratch through and got their one game. And then they had doesn't surprise. I mean, you know, on the game threes, sometimes you get a slugfest. Yesterday in Starkville, of course, Mississippi State 10-run ruled them, and then Ole Miss and Kentucky went 12-9 on their game three. It just happened to be on Saturday, as y'all know. So here's where we are. If you want to unpack this, you know, they're going to be tight-lipped within the program on McPherson because it's like, I mean, in collegiate athletics, regardless of school and sport, they act like it's the president. You know, in the pro sports, they just tell you, here's the deal. That's why it's so awesome. NFL, NBA, MLB. Especially then, I love the NFL. I mean, here's the deal. It's not espionage and all this stuff. The McPherson thing, I don't know. Okay. I don't have any idea. When I hear things though like this, it just, every weekend you don't have him, considering how you're built and your goals and all that for this year and what you just got through doing, which is what you needed to do at Global Life against Arkansas and now Vanderbilt. You know, can you get there? Yes. I mean, do you have talented people? Yes, but it's a blow. So, like, you're coming off this high the weekend, and I don't want to, like, rain on that parade. You should be on a high. But if Ryan McPherson's down 2 series, 3 series, 4 series, I mean, you got 8 more before going to Hoover. Y'all can do the math. And if he was going to, like, win you 3 games and not have a decision maybe in a couple where he still pitched, I mean, y'all know this thing on Fridays is I've referenced Cohen as a baseball coach talking about the separation on Friday night and the intensity and the aces and the talent in the league and what plays. Like, I could not believe that Mississippi State went through that with Gleason and Maddox on Friday night where things could have gotten away from them and Vandy was loading up the bases and they got out of it. I really think the 5th inning on Friday night was your kind of MVP inning because you needed to solidify that win so that you could walk them off yesterday to sweep. I mean, and everything in between. Yeah, it's a blow. And you want to beat your rival and they want to beat you, and they've got one of the best aces in the country. So it's not all doom and gloom, but it's a concern. It is what it is. McPherson's talented. Jay Powell will join us again this week, and he talked about it. Steve referenced Nate Dome. I mean, that never got back right. Now, look, there's I don't know how many different scenarios that could be on a strain and this and whatever. But we'll see. To say that they'll be precautionary is an understatement. When can he start revving back up? Right? Like, when will we all find out that he's throwing again? And then after that, when will he actually throw in a game? I think those are things to like, when will he do a full meal deal bullpen session with Parker? I don't know. Is that 2 weeks from now? 5 weeks from now?
Oof.
And then after that, depending on how that goes, how he feels, velocity, and so on, where do you go from there? It may be fine. He may be four weeks from now. He may be ready to go full speed. He feels great, and he's dealing on a Friday night. I have no idea. And even Steve, who's like called 35 different people, is, this thing could go a number of different ways. But you still got to go to Oxford and play and find a way to get to. And Ole Miss wants to beat you because you've been more hyped this year, even though Ole Miss has had a hell of a year. Hey, a couple of different ways that you can get in touch with us. The Dancing Rabbit Golf text line is 601-885-3776. Find us on X at Bo Bounds. Tweet to us. Follow us on X, on the Twitters, at Bo Bounds. The Budweiser caller line is 601-707-3750. We had a listener on here say, Bo, need to get Maluski a Budweiser NIL deal. Yeah. That has to happen. Yeah, he does look like a dude that loves an ice cold Budweiser and can smash a few cheeseburgers after the game. Unfortunately, even though he's over 21, they don't let those deals happen.
Weak.
We act like these guys are 12 and still playing travel ball. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, battle for the Golden Egg on baseball, grass, ballpark, Swayze this weekend. Now, let me go to the Sweet 16. No, let me go to we've gone hardcore sports for 2 hours and 8 minutes, which is way too much for me. It's National Chips and Dip Day. Right. I love chips and dip. Love it. I love a bunch of different dips other than sour cream. But, I mean, all the different Rotels, all the different guacamoles. I love salsa, good salsa. I mean, just there's so many different things that I'm down with. You like chips and dip?
Love it. It's a staple.
It is a staple
of every culture.
Oh, really? Okay,
yep.
So it's chips and dip are a staple of every culture. I like that.
That's what it is.
I like that. There's nothing better than some really good dips out with some really good chips, Ruffles preferred. But there's others. And a damn good time and a buddy or two or more than that. And a sporting event or something fun happening.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, chips and dip are two or one, I guess. I don't know how I say it. Of the best things in the world.
Yeah. The combo is, let's go, we'll consider it one.
Yeah. Okay, it's a combo.
It's a combo, so it's one.
One. Chips and dip are one of the best things in the world.
Absolutely. I mean, where have you been at some kind of event that doesn't have chips and dip?
I can't think of any.
No.
I mean, hell, I like getting nachos at the ballpark with some jalapenos. I know y'all don't think I ever eat like that, but I'll do some processed cheese. And there's something about being in a baseball park that I'll do that.
No doubt.
I'd like to hear from you. What's your favorite chips and dip combo? The text line, 601-885-3776.
that'll be the last time that I address it.
Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. I love Rick Pitino. He makes the tournament and college basketball so much better. And St. John's is playing Duke on Friday. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? They did that for me. Y'all know how much I nerd out on March Madness. I couldn't get enough of it yesterday. I called a lot of it over the weekend, but I was bouncing around Duty Noble and got to see so many wonderful friends and got to hang out with my kids, which was, believe it or not, fun. I mean, it depends on the day, but it was fun this weekend. I had my last father-daughter. I felt like we just did our first one. I know some of y'all have been there, and we had a ton of fun. It was on Saturday, and it was at this bar I had not been to called Mississippi Ice. It's a cool spot. I mean, it's down there by Stagger Inn. I've been to Stagger because there's a crew of my buddies who live in Starkville who roll through there occasionally. And, it's behind the Cotton District, like just down the street. And we had a good time. I never thought that I would be – we've talked about all the out-of-state students that are going – to Mississippi State and Ole Miss now. I'm sitting there having a Michelob Ultra. No, it was a Bud Light because they had sold out of Michelob Ultra. And I'm sitting there at the table, and I mean, this is Ella Hall's sorority, and she's been there now 4 years, and she had a great time and so on. And I've got a guy from Wisconsin who's played Augusta National 6 times. I'm jealous. Okay, he's there with his daughter. Got a guy from Atlanta who actually lives by a friend of mine in Atlanta, another Mississippi State guy in Atlanta. I'm like, what? And then there's a dude who lives up, I guess, in Bentonville or something in the Walmart area. But I'm sitting there thinking things have changed from when I was at Mississippi State in the 90s. Mississippi Ice is a cool little spot. I'm not a daiquiri guy, but I get why you would put they had everything else too, but they had I don't know how many different daiquiris rolling. And they eventually had crawfish, but it was fun. Of course, it was hard not to have fun this weekend in Starkville, Oxford. 1, because of the weather. 2, you're around friends and family. And 3, you're winning. Yeah. And I talk about it all the time. And I know y'all, I roll what I say, and that's fine. But soak it up. Shower in it. I mean, Mississippi State fans should have taken a shower Sunday afternoon and just the McPherson thing's kind of a different, but just like you just swept a team and dominated them and walked them off on Sunday. Because a lot of times in the league, we see this all the time. They're 21-year-olds. They're going to let their guard down on game 3. The other team's going to win. Going to have a little slugfest. End up losing 10-8, but you still had a good weekend. That did not happen. Brian O'Connor wasn't having any of that. And neither was the Mississippi State hitting lineup, which was crushing the baseball. I had a great time. I did. It was a ton of fun. I got to hit 2 brothers, and we DoorDashed Taste at some point. Was that Saturday after the game? Yeah. So that worked out great. It was just a hell of a weekend. Really was. Other than McPherson, it was just got to see wonderful people that I love and hang out with my kids. And so it was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
That's solid.
Yeah. It's a good weekend.
What did you
And as you get older, you really, really love it.
Yeah.
They could be in different cities in about 5 minutes. And of course, we'll still be jumping in cars or planes to go see them, but that's just where we are. But yeah, it was a great time. The dads in her class, I was so impressed. High level of men. Successful, really good guys. Of course, no airs, laid back. People were just having fun. It was a good group. Mississippi Ice is a cool spot. Good for them. Nice little added. I don't know all the places anymore. But because when Ella Hall said, yeah, the party's at Mississippi Ice, I was like, I don't even know what that is. No. But it's just a cool little bar down. It's right by the baseball stadium, as y'all know. I mean, you walk out of Mississippi Ice and you can see Duty Noble.
Nice.
So kind of neat that it's on the College Park Road or whatever it is that leads to the hump and Duty Noble. Yeah. So it worked out great. And Stagger Inn's just right. I mean, I could have, and I can't throw anymore. Not that I could, but you could throw a baseball to Stagger. So it was right in that little area. There were a lot of people there. I mean, hell, when we left to finally go to the game and our Uber got there, there were so many people coming into that bar. I was like, holy, because it was about 2 hours before the game. So that you got that game day rush.
Right.
It was going to be packed. And you could tell the party was, it was going to be a lot of fun. So don't forget, you can, for those of you streaming the show, you can fly in from Atlanta, Dallas, Fort Worth daily to the Golden Triangle, which is great for you. And 15 minutes. Like Ella Hall took one of her friends to the airport on Friday. She's doing an internship in New York. And she doesn't get how lucky they are to be able to fly Delta straight into Atlanta, 15 minutes away from campus. But she took her friend to New York. I mean, not to New York, to the airport.
Right.
But I mean, she was just there and back. I mean, that's such an asset. It's like 10 to 15 minutes to the airport, and then you're back on campus or in Starkville. That's huge. Daily flights right now. Atlanta to Starkville, Dallas, Fort Worth to Starkville, or to Golden Triangle. FlyStarkville.org. All right. Anything else? Chips and dip. Oh, did we get any? Man, I love chips and dip. I love really good Rotel. I love really quality guacamole. And then you kind of got some queso over there too. And I like to do all of them. So I kind of need my own little thing going.
Yeah.
Because I want to dip one chip in maybe all of it.
Oh, one chip malt dips?
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay.
Do you mix dips?
Yes.
You
I mean,
do?
I'll do a little bit of salsa and a little bit of queso.
Yeah, that's a move.
And I want them on the side and a little ramekin or whatever, but I want some jalapenos.
I like that.
Yeah.
Jalapenos are great.
What they're doing as far as Two Brothers Wings out at the ballpark. Did you see that guy? He drove in from, where was he? He's one of the big baseball writers. He drove in from Texas and spent the weekend and had to pick this picture of like 6 wings from Two Brothers. He says, best wing. I was like, dude, they're the best wings in the, I don't know what Barton does.
I don't know.
I like them because they're dry. I mean, they're smoked, but like they're not a bunch of tangy sauce on them.
Right.
You can add that, obviously. But the guy had a great picture up in the, I guess, the outfield of the wings from Two Brothers that you can get in the stadium.
Nice.
And nachos. Those Two Brothers nachos. Don't sleep on those either. We talk about the pork rind nachos at Martin's in Livingston.
Yes, sir.
That's another one. You have to have the jalapenos with it. You have to.
Oh, yeah.
So, don't you think?
Got to. I mean, I'm not a big.
Well, are you more
fan.
queso or if you had to only choose one? Are you queso or salsa?
Yeah, queso.
See, I'm the same. That's a real close thing.
Yeah.
But I go queso,
queso
because I can put the jalapenos on the queso. I mean, I can do both, but there's something about really quality jalapenos, queso, and a good chip.
They're better with queso.
Oh gosh, I'm hungry. By the way, I'm really, really hungry. Okay, Steve Robertson next on McPherson, Bryce Chance, and the Ole Miss series at Swayze this weekend. Steve Robertson coming up next. Everything will be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts later. Search Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds.